Well, that GOP field is getting even smaller. Rand Paul calling it quits today. Of course, Mike Huckabee earlier this week, and now it's all over the world, all over Twitter. Rick Santorum at any moment will make it official he's dropping out. So will any of these former candidates end up being someone, wink, wink, running mate? By the way, I did ask Mike Huckabee this very question on Friday before he dropped out of the race. Some people maybe think you're auditioning for that #2 spot.
Well, it could be that Donald Trump is auditioning for my #2 spot. Let's just wait till the votes get counted.
All right, Governor. Well, joining me now, Tammy, Bruce, Lisa Boothe, former Senator Scott Brown, and Charlie Hurt. Senator Brown, you knew it was inevitable. Once you jumped on the Trump train, a lot of people said, hey, my man's jockeying for that #2 spot. You look good in that seat.
Well, first of all, it's like wondering who's going to win the World Series. It's great barroom talk. You sit down, you grab a beer and a hot dog and some nachos, and you pontificate about who's going to do what. We have the second state coming in 6 days, and everyone's talking about who's going to be vice president. It's kind of funny. It's certainly flattering to be in that conversation, but highly unlikely. There's so many great candidates that can fill that spot, and a lot of them are running right now.
Well, you wouldn't say no if asked, just for the record.
Hey, I'm going to do my job right now to make sure that my guy gets in the White House, and that, more importantly, we retain the Senate to make sure that Chuck Schumer doesn't become the majority leader. That's my number 1 and 2 priorities right now.
Great point. I think a lot of people applaud Rand Paul for now focusing on the Senate. But, Tammy, you brought up the point during the break. There are a lot of good people running right now who would be a nice pull for #2. Let's say Trump won the nomination.
Sure. Look, there's so much talent out there. It's fabulous. Trump will need somebody who is not like him, frankly, and who won't compete with him in a certain way. Someone with experience and someone from, let's say, the Midwest. Scott Walker comes to mind. Also, Rick Perry, who's worn the uniform, brings Texas with him. That could be an interesting combination for Mr. Trump. If it were to be Mr. Cruz, Carly Fiorina would be a fabulous choice, as would Scott Walker. Mr. Perry is a little more difficult because they're both from Texas, but I think that this is a fabulous thing to have to worry about because there is so much talent, and we do have to think about, though, the combination of what we need to get this nation back on our feet.
Charlie, I mean, I know it's a little early for this, but, we're going to speculate anyway, so what do you think?
Well, I think that Tammy's exactly right, and it's sort of amusing to look at the very deep bench that Republicans have right now, and there's so much hand-wringing, and Democrats are talking about how much trouble Republicans are in, but the truth of the matter is you've got a half dozen to a dozen very, very credible candidates who could serve in either position, president or vice president. The one, obviously, regional importance is always something that people look at when they pick their vice president. But last time in 2012, Mitt Romney picked Paul Ryan, who wound up not bringing Wisconsin along with him the way the way they would have liked.
Right.
So I think that Tammy's exactly right. That whoever gets the nomination is going to probably look for the someone to balance out the ticket in terms of skill sets.
Lisa, remember for the debate that after the Fox News debate, Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee both beat a path over to the Donald Trump event, and a lot of folks said that puts them pretty high up there. Scuttlebutt on Twitter right now that Santorum is going to actually back Donald Trump, and perhaps Huckabee too. They may have an event soon in Arkansas. Would either of those guys be it, or would it be someone we're not even talking about?
Well, and I imagine they would say yes if asked, but, sort of what's been discussed so far is, yeah, you want someone that's sort of going to round out the ticket and that has something that you don't offer. If you're Senator Cruz or Marco Rubio, you might want someone that has governing experience, or perhaps a woman as well, so maybe they look at someone like Nikki Haley. Or if you're someone like Donald Trump and you have that executive experience, you might want someone who has federal experience that understands the federal government a little bit more in depth to sort of round that out. And geographical areas does matter as well. I mean, if you look at statistics, since World War II, a major party nominee has carried the state of their vice presidential choice 72% of the time. So that does matter. But then you can also look at someone like Vice President Biden, who is from Delaware, which isn't really a consequential swing state there. So there's a variety of factors that come into play that these guys, or whoever the nominee is going to be looking at.
Real quick, Senator Brown, Nikki Haley sounds really compelling to me.
Listen, she's great. Dear friend, supporter. She supported me. We have a very deep bench. And once again, Charles, any one of these people that you're talking about, vice president, president, would make a better vice president or president than Harry Reid. I'm sorry, than Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton. You throw in Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, any one of them.
Right.
So it's night and day.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. It was a great show.